Joe Chats on Tap Sportsnet. Thank you so much for the time, Greg. What is it like preparing a group of a lot of young players who haven't necessarily had postseason experience for their first postseason match? Obviously, you want to treat things like they're the same, but curious how you handle the emotions of guys who are genuinely excited to be in the position they're at right now.
I think in this case, emotions can be good, right? It can be fuel. And I think that's the important thing, is understanding that it's a knockout game that we're playing in. We've earned the right to play in this game, and use everything you got. Use your emotion as fuel, because we know it's going to be a difficult game, and we know that Wednesday night at 9:30, 9:45, one team's going to be finished, right? And we don't want that to be us.
So one, like the talking point coming out of Saturday's game on decision day was that the team got off to kind of a slower start. How do you try to prevent that from happening on Wednesday? Is it managing those emotions? Is it tactics? Like, there's only so much you can really control as a coach. So how have you been approaching that over the today in training?
I think a slow start is an understatement from last week's game, right? Conceding in the first minute of the game. But again, everything happens for a reason. And we're in this position for a reason. When I think about the Toronto last kick of the game, when I think about the first kick of the game in New England, right, we've learned from that. And now it's about applying all these lessons that we've learned throughout the season, into one game and hopefully more this season. But, for us, it's I think there's a certain amount of preparation and analysis that you do, and you share that information with the players, and hopefully we'll be prepared in a good way.
Hey, Greg, Chris Bowden from WGN-TV here in Chicago. I kind of asked Chris the same question, but how do you gauge and evaluate, after taking this job a year ago, how far you've come and where this program is right now compared to the expectations and the vision that you had for it after 1 year on the job?
We have very high expectations, very high standards, but you have to start somewhere. And I think that we've made progress this year. Certainly across the board, we set a number of club records, which is great. Away wins, most goals in a season, most away goals. So there's a lot to be proud of. But having said that, I think there's still a ways to go, and we still want to keep improving. I mentioned early on in the press conference that I see this club as a sleeping giant, and I really believe that. And I think we have more to show, and there's more to come. But certainly proud of the work rate of the players, of the desire, the attitude throughout this whole season, and it's really helped us achieve some of our objectives.
Greg, Hernán Espinosa, La Fibra Deportiva. How's the team doing right now? How's the motivation? And my other question is, you don't have too many injuries during this year, so you have the team complete. Has it been helpful to having this training facility so the players can recover easily or take less time of that?
I think it's a combination of, the players' dedication. I think the medical staff and the performance staff, the work that they do in programming the training and helping rehabbing the players. We have a very, very good medical staff and performance staff. And that's one of the reasons. Right now we are somewhat healthy. We lost Andre obviously for the season with an ACL, and Leo's still out. But other than that, we're good to go. And again, the players deserve a lot of credit for that, for all their hard work and dedication.
We will take a few questions from Zoom. We'll start with Teresa Limon from Chicago Fire Spanish Radio.
When I think about some of the most memorable moments of the season, some of them come at SeatGeek, and we've had some great games there, great crowds there. I think about the last game at Soldier Field, great atmosphere, the Miami game. So the fans have been with us the entire year, and we can't thank them enough for their support. For us, for the team, for the staff, for the entire club, we're hoping that they come out on Wednesday. It's been a long time since playoff soccer, and it'd be great to have our fans come and create that same type of atmosphere that we have in the past, because we know that we need them.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Alex Calabrese, Men in Red 97.
Alex. Well, I think we're both completely different teams. I think that's fair to say. So, time has a great effect on teams. So you see that we've made a lot of progress. We know they're a good team. We know they have threats that we're going to be, have to take care of. And I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. They compete. I know Oscar very well. I have a ton of respect for him and what he's done over this last decade and a half. Excellent coach, and he'll have them prepared. That's one thing I know for sure. And we have to come with that same mindset, because as I mentioned, one of our seasons is going to be finished Wednesday night.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Jim Alexander from Real Talker.
Well, it's been a race to recover, having a game on Saturday night and then playing again on Wednesday. The performance team, medical team has done a great job of getting the guys in a good spot. There's been some light training today on the field, video work, both individually and collectively. But for us, the beauty of this thing is that nothing changes. For us, it's the same approach we've taken all season. We literally take one game at a time. We put the very similar process into the preparation for each game. And I think that routine keeps the players comfortable and keeps them focused.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Alex Campbell, CHGO.
Yeah, I think that the beauty of Chicago is really how it gets behind its teams and how it really supports teams, especially in the playoffs. I live in the Wrigley area, and after the Cubs won that first series against Milwaukee, my wife's running out into the street celebrating with everybody, and that's Chicago. All the neighbors were out in the street and near the stadium, and that's what I think of when I think of Chicago, is really a city that gets behind its teams, especially in the playoff times, whether that's the Bulls, the Bears, the Cubs, the Blackhawks. I remember when they were in the playoffs, it takes the city by storm. And we can only hope that we create the same impact. We know that it's a Wednesday night, but this is an opportunity to come see playoff soccer. And, we hope that the fans come out and all the Chicagoans come out to support us.
Greg, obviously you don't want to get to this point, but if PKs are an option, so what has it been like prepping for those this week? How much of a focus is that, considering it's not necessarily the option A, B, or C?
We've been preparing for the last couple of weeks, getting guys comfortable. It's really about confidence, repetition, mindset. And, if it comes down to that, we'll deal with it. But, it's something that, the format is 90 minutes, then penalties right away. So it's a slightly different, but, we'll take it as it comes.
And how important is it to try to get the win in that 90 minutes? I mean, the team's last 2 games have ended in draws, so would have gone to PKs in that situation. Do you try to push if you're tied to try to get the win, or is it just, try to hold back and take the PKs and take the opportunity there?
Every game is different. Every game has a different story and follows a different path. And I have no idea with this game's how it's going to unfold. And it could be where we're on top of it and we're pushing for a goal, and you would like to continue. It could be that we're under pressure late in the game and we want to maintain. So every game's different. And for us, the important thing is continuing on with our season after Wednesday night.
And Greg, one other thing, today's the last day for MLS award voters to get their stuff in. I think one of the best candidates on this team for any award would be Philip Zinkernagel for Newcomer of the Year. I'm just curious what you would say is a pitch for him to get that award, considering the impact he's had for your squad in year one with the
I think best 11 potentially also, right? I mean, there's a number of awards Phil can win, but unfortunately we're not allowed to vote for players on our team. But no, I think I know he's not. That's not why he does it. But nonetheless, he's still earned it in our eyes. He's had an amazing season. 15 and 15 is something that doesn't happen too often in Major League Soccer. Only top players get to do that, and he has. So in my mind, certainly one of the best 11 players, and also Newcomer of the Year.
Joe kicked off pointing out that there's a young squad here, a lot of young players that haven't been in the postseason before. How important is it to have guys that, even if they're not necessarily playing on the pitch a lot of the time, that are veteran presences, like Omar Gonzalez, who actually you knew from your time as a player, and now he's been a veteran presence around the team all year?
Every player is important at this stage, and every player has been important throughout the year. Everyone has a role. Everyone has a contribution to make for the good of the team, and that's how we've been. That's how we've been leading all year, is by everyone chipping in and doing their role. So it's going to be no different on Wednesday night. We trying to give the guys an understanding of what it's going to be like, but then also for the players who it's their first time enjoying the experience, enjoying the pressure. This is really a privilege that we get to do this.